What's up? This is Max Sinclair here. I am going to be brain dumping my professional experience into your head, talking about a B2B brand around paid ads. What could we do with a particular B2B brand with paid advertising across any platform? So I have experience over around 5 to 6 years. I've spent millions through different companies' ad accounts, and so I've got to know what works and what doesn't. And so I do these calls often with people that get in touch with me to kind of audit their company and suggest which platforms are right for them, how might I use those platforms, etc. So I'm going to do all of that with you today about a random B2B brand. I've picked one that's run by a friend of mine, Jodie, and she has started a company which allows you to create an AI version of yourself. This sounds pretty mental, but it's true, and you can do it right now, and we'll talk about that today. And I'm going to talk about what I would do with this brand if I was to do ads on the account. So let's dig straight into it. This stuff does work. I've seen over a 5 times average ROAS from my clients. Definitely pay attention all the way through to the very end, where we're going to cover some of the more nuanced details about the exact specifications of some of these campaigns and the tracking behind them as well, which is really important. So let's start. This is the website for Coach Vox, which is coachvox.ai. She's also got coachvox.com, which I personally use with her. She's an amazing coach for me. And as you can see, it allows you to create an AI version of yourself to coach, mentor, and answer questions like you would. So you have the ability to create this AI version of you that then can answer questions from your community, can provide customer support, can help your team, can create leads for you, can do all sorts of things. It's basically trying to copy yourself. That's what's so cool about this.
Can you imagine it?
You can see that there's stages to this. The pricing ranges from $99 up to $16K if you were to have somebody do it all for you versus do it yourself. Add value to members, keep in touch with clients, build familiarity. She particularly points out that it's made for influential entrepreneurs, people who have big followings, maybe communities, and so an AI version of themselves available to those clients could be really helpful. So let's dig into it. So where might I start? Let's get some notes up. We're going to get a new note, Coach Vox, paid ads, brain dump. So firstly, which platforms? So there's Google, there's LinkedIn and Facebook. Those are some of our favorites. Facebook being Facebook and Instagram, of course. So Facebook is more of a B2C display network, which we like to use it for. LinkedIn nowadays is awesome if you're B2B. And then Google is if you're being searched for, of course. So let's start with the not so good. Facebook, I'm iffy. I think Facebook is made more for B2C. You can use it for B2B. A lot of people do it successfully. I personally have a preference to another platform, which we'll talk about in a second. And then there's Google. I'm going to put Google in the middle somewhere. So Google, I think that it could be good, but it's more of a long tail. I imagine things like a business owner like myself Googling things like, how to save myself time, or hire a personal assistant, or hire a virtual assistant, or hire a general manager, someone in charge of a business, in charge of a large organization who's trying to outsource work because they're too busy. I think that's part of the value of this thing, is that you're creating an AI version of you, so it takes away work from yourself. So maybe people searching for these things could be valuable, but the one that I love, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is perfect for a B2B network. It is amazing in terms of the data set that it has. LinkedIn has an entire history of your work experience. Facebook, you maybe put your current job title. Instagram, you pretty much put nothing. And they have to depend on other factors to try to understand where you might work. Whereas LinkedIn, you literally tell it from when you were a 15-year-old pup doing your first work experience all the way through to modern day, where you worked, what you did there in detail, what were your responsibilities, all of these other factors. And so LinkedIn has so much more depth to its data set than Facebook and Instagram do as display networks for a B2B transaction. So for someone like Coach Vox, we're talking about pricing which is between $99 to $16,000. This is also for, speaking to large communities of people. So it is a B2B relationship. It's very unlikely, I think, that someone would sign up to this as just a random individual who's wanting to have their WhatsApp managed by a simple version because they've got sick of too many group chats or something. So LinkedIn ads is where I'm going to go. So what would we do with LinkedIn ads? So LinkedIn ads, I would start with trying to think about what are the variables I'm going to test. So we'd want to be testing audiences, testing creatives, testing, let's put it into order, testing the conversion format or type, testing copy, and many other things that we could be testing in more granular ways, but these are some of the major things that we might do. And then we've got TOF, top of funnel, and then MOF, middle of funnel. We want to create a funnel within LinkedIn ads that's going to work well. So I know from knowing Jodie that this is still a relatively young business, and so I don't think she has huge quantities of traffic. So what I would likely do, let's just say she has a budget, I meant to say as well at the beginning of this, let's say she has a budget of £2,000, a basic minimum for us in terms of what we're able to do, because £2,000 spreads very quickly. Let's say you have a cost per click from her of £2 per click. Well, then that's obviously only 1,000 clicks per month. And so we're using those 1,000 clicks as 1,000 votes to try to decide between different audiences which is the best, different creatives, different copies, etc. And we have to do all of this learning with only 1,000 votes for one or the other. And if you know basic, statistics and maths, you know that you need, at least 100. This is tiny numbers, really. You need a lot more to make something statistically viable when you're doing an A/B test. You need at least that £2,000. So let's assume that it's that. I also think because she doesn't start with loads of traffic, we're going to probably start with only the top of funnel, and then a week or two in, we'll start with the middle of funnel. So let's start with TOF. So what would I do with TOF? I would look and find out what are the creatives she has, what's the different things that might work to get her leads. I think the first thing I'd want to do is test, will her landing page turn into contact forms so you can see name and email to start doing it? So I would test landing page conversion versus the LinkedIn lead gen forms. So LinkedIn lead gen forms can be really, really good. They're a great way to really just get lots of leads when your website is relatively young and not converting well enough yet. This is probably what I would be testing. So what does her website convert versus do these lead gen forms convert? And then I would be testing, I think we would probably just go in with a hard pitch of the service. So, really great taglines like create an AI version of yourself. That sounds fucking cool. So that would be an easy headline, primary text for a LinkedIn ad. So I would probably just do actually even just one copy. I think we could pretty much nail the copy, or at least feel confident that the copy is good. And then that would give us the space possibly to do campaign one. We would have one campaign group within LinkedIn ads, TOF group. And then within that, we would have one campaign for audience one. This might be, let's just say, influencers with large social followings. Someone like that, people that lead large communities. Campaign 2, audience 2. In this one, we're going to test business owners with decent sized teams. And then campaign 3, maybe we're going to test, maybe just as a random curveball, like government officials or something like that as an alternative, because someone working, for the Conservative Party or the Lib Dems might be really interested in being able to be more there for their constituents. That's a random alternative one for you. So that's 3 different audiences I might want to test. And then we're going to be testing, we're going to just try with just one copy. We're going to test lots of different creatives. So best case scenario, Jodie has a bunch of stuff already produced. So she has some things that we've seen work with B2B on LinkedIn. Could be like single image ads with punchy sentence over it. Like, clone yourself. Like something around now you can clone yourself, or something around imagine how much you could do with 2 of yourself. I think that's quite a fun one. Something like that. A single image ad with like an inspiring, punchy, dramatic image backdrop with that text. Or even just like a black background version. Maybe we could do one single image ad with AI produced cartoon art image plus punchy sentence over it. And then another one we could have would be, say, a video that she's done which sums it up. We could do a carousel which goes through 3 main benefits, because within LinkedIn ads you can do 5 different ads at any time, and we generally do use all 5 of them with a client. So we'll have that, and then we would use the same 5 ads for each of these, and then this means that you end up with a nice clean testing matrix. Oh sorry, I've also missed, we want to be testing LinkedIn lead gen forms versus landing pages. So let's see if we could split this. I think that would be okay. So campaign 1 would be audience 1, and then let's do / landing page conversions, and let's add that to each of these. And then I'm going to copy all of this Make this a bit bigger for us. It shows how complicated it gets so quickly. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 campaigns that we would actually be producing. And then in 4, 5, and 6, it's not landing page conversions, it's lead gen form. So then, as you can see, we would be able to be learning which is the best conversion form in terms of the website. Often the website can have a better quality of conversion, or the lead gen form, which gives you a lot more quantity, and it's a bit more work to make that lead gen form give you good quality as well. It just is much easier to fill out the lead gen form, so you get more of them. But of course, if it's easier to fill out, then there's a bit less commitment from that person. So it's a balancing act. So we tried both. So we'll discover that. We'll discover which of the 3 audiences was best. We'll discover which of those 5 creatives are best. And then from there, we might say, okay, it was the landing page did great. So then the next round of campaigns would just be using the landing page. Let's say we discovered that it was the videos that did so much better. So then we kill all the other single image ads and carousels, and we come up with some other video variations. And we haven't done any copy testing, so we might actually just do 5 different versions of copy to test different copy creatives. So then we keep learning and iterating with this A/B testing machine that we've produced over and over again to keep improving. And then middle of funnel, we would very likely, once we were ready to do it, once we had enough volume, I'd likely be doing quite a long 90-day stack where we combine site traffic, video views, LinkedIn company page engaged, etc. So other forms of engagement. And in any time over the last 90 days, you can much more comfortably chase people endlessly when it comes to LinkedIn ads in a B2B relationship, because people make big decisions around business-to-business decisions over a much longer time period. So realistically, it's worth chasing them for a much longer amount of time. So that's why we do 90 days. We might do 14 or 40 days. If it's a shorter stack, then it's a hotter audience, so you get a better conversion rate from that smaller number, but it needs to be a big enough quantity of people that the frequency doesn't go too wild, basically. So we might do roughly 90 days. That's an estimation to start with based on my experience. So that's how we would do it there. And then we would do a similar thing. So then we might test copy here, actually. So we would have campaign 1, copy 1, copy 2, and copy 3. And then within each of these, maybe we'll have the same, well, we would come up with probably different ads which are more focused on once somebody has discovered the brand in these cold campaigns, because this is top of funnel, we would then go into the middle of funnel where they've already engaged with you. So you want to have other types of creative that might be more testimonials of people that have already gone through the experience, or ABC, how does it actually work, more depth into it, more like stories, longer form content to go into more detail. So we would have, ad 1, ad 2, ad 3, etc. And then we would have that be the same 5 in each of these, just to be clear, so that then we know which is the best copy, and also, again, which is the best creative for the middle of funnel. There's kind of a different world of testing for top of funnel and middle of funnel, because of course things work differently in those 2 places. So yeah, this is how I would approach doing LinkedIn ads for Coachbox. I would just start with that 2K with Coachbox, or more if they can afford it, and then jump up quickly to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 10K. You can spend a lot on LinkedIn ads pretty easily, and the more we can spend, the more we can test, because there's generally, depending on which country you're in, there's kind of a hard minimum of more like £10 per day budget that you're allowed to do per one of these campaigns. So you can only do so many campaigns. £2,000, it's very quick basically to run out of your £2,000 when you think about the fact that you need £10 per day per campaign. So there it is. I hope this has been useful for any of you other business owners. Let me know if you enjoy these kinds of videos. This is a bit rambly, but I also think, I'm just kind of throwing everything I can think of about how I go through thinking through a brand, and hopefully it comes in of use to you. Please do subscribe if you enjoy this kind of stuff. It makes me so happy when people do. The channel is actually growing now, which feels great. I think we're at like 400 subscribers at this point. And otherwise I will see you in the next one.